What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Hot Take. Today we're in something that's really cool and kind of a unicorn in disguise. This is a 2001 Toyota Camry with the V6 engine and, more importantly, a 5-speed manual transmission. We have the owner with us today. Tell us a little bit about this car.
Yeah, so this is as you said, a 2001 Camry LE V6 5-speed. My parents bought this car new in June of 2001. It was built in May of 2001. This is actually the second Camry V6 5-speed that my father drove. Long-term Toyota owners. The car was very reliable. Drove it for the rest of his life, and it's been in the family ever since.
Yeah, it's a really cool story. It's a really unique car. Let's go ahead and take it out on the road and see how she drives. And we're off. My initial impressions, it's very smooth. Although the manual shifter, you were commenting on this earlier, is a little bit vague. Toyota likes to use their shift cables, and unfortunately as they age and get older, they don't really hold up all that great. Did you drive this when this car was new?
I did.
Did it feel like, was it tighter when it was new?
It was not significantly better than this.
Oh, okay, so it's this kind of just how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. V6 is very good torque. It's a 3-liter V6, makes 194 horsepower, I think, 209 torque, which is healthy for a car of this model year. And I want to say these weigh, 4-cylinder weighs just under 3,000 with an automatic. Somebody guessed this probably weighs like a little over 3,000.
Yeah, just a bit over.
So a good power number for the weight of the car relative to its time anyway. They were kind of going after this is like a cheap luxury car, I think, with the leather, and it doesn't have the wood. I think that was the XLE, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You're right.
But it feels very nice. The suspension is a little bit soft. Not terribly boingy, but it does have 10,000 miles. We just ticked over. Of course, you were saying it's original, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Doesn't like to be shifted very quickly. And I've also noticed too when driving it that it really wants to, when you get off the clutch, this car doesn't like you to quickly let off the clutch. You got to kind of give it a little bit of time, slip it a little bit. Otherwise, it kind of gets it like almost jolts the chassis if you kind of get on the clutch too quickly. Just something interesting. Anyway, how long have you owned this car for?
So I got this car at the end of May of this year.
Okay.
For my mother. She kept driving the car after my father passed away.
Right. Turn the lights on so you can see the gauge is a little easier. Yeah, so how many miles do you put on this?
So I picked it up at 206,000. We're now at 210. So
Put a few thousand miles on it. How do you like it?
It's like you said, it's a very unusual car. So I mean, to me, that does add to the appeal.
Yeah.
It makes a great commuter car. It's like it's surprisingly good fuel mileage. We've gotten a size 32 on a long trip. You know, it's reasonably quiet, smooth. It's definitely not made for taking turns quickly, but it's an everyday commuter car with just a little extra zip for getting on the highway. That's a little bit of fun.
Now it is pretty fun. By the time you guys are seeing this video, I'll have revealed my new daily, which is same production month, actually, Toyota Camry, but it's the 4-cylinder with an automatic. So the slowest spec you could get in one of these. Unless, could you get leather and wood with the 4-cylinder or no?
An XLE 4-cylinder.
So you could. Okay, so maybe that one would be slower, but you know, this feels a lot different. Mine feels like a dog. This one feels like it can get out of its own way, which, for what it's worth, is really nice. thinking of getting out of its own way. It does have a fair amount of torque steer, which is really funny because it doesn't have a lot of power, but it's on 15s and 205s.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm guessing the torque steer's there just because there's not a lot of tire, and it's got that really good V6 torque. It feels really torquey, even down low, like at 2,000, you still feel like, you know, I don't feel like I need to shift out of 5th gear to get it to kind of get up and go. Very tall gearing. I didn't just grind into 3, did I?
No.
Was that just a little bit of feedback? Because it felt like a click.
Not sure.
Weird. You did say that occasionally it does grind and it's really loud when you do.
Yeah, when it goes into first, sometimes there's a loud grind. If the shifter's not lined up exactly where it wants to slide into the gate.
If any of you Toyota guys know what the fix for that is in the comments, maybe like the shift cables or the linkage or maybe something in the clutch assembly, we'd both love to know. It feels all right, but
this is the E153 manual transmission. They're known to be strong transmissions.
so it can handle the grinding.
Yeah, but the shifter itself is just has always been a little vague, a little sloppy.
A little sloppy, yeah. This would honestly be a lot of fun as like a little, I wouldn't make it a track car, but as like a little canyon carver / daily, just kind of something fun. The engine certainly likes to be revved. Get in the brakes a little bit. Brake pedal feels really good, much better than my other one with rear drums. And rev matching is really easy in this car too. It's not the same thing. You don't really shift it that fast, but I actually find that it kind of, at least from 5 to 4 and 4 to 3, it kind of slides in easier than it does when you're going up.
Yeah, I think it has the feel of a light flywheel, so
Yeah.
and like you're saying, pushing in the clutch, the engine wants to lose revs quickly, so if you're not careful with how you do it, it'll jerk the car.
Exactly, yeah. I'm finding myself, because the shifter wants me to shift slowly, but the revs kind of drop quicker, so I kind of have to really play with the pedals a bit. When you're trying to downshift, it's really easy. Handle's pretty good too. The steering's pretty numb, but I mean, it's a Camry. The rack is all loosey-goosey. We all expect that from this car. But as far as the actual suspension, communication, everything, it's better than you would think it would be, honestly. Even with these not blown, but worn 210,000 mile shocks, when I came up to the light and I kind of hit the brake and stopped, I felt it kind of shake back and forth a little bit. Mine does that too. It needs rear shocks.
Yeah, I mean, these cars were set up pretty soft from the factory. They're meant to ride smoothly, and that was kind of priority #1.
Most people that got these got an automatic because it was just a commuter. But I think it was super cool that they offered a stick shift option.
Yeah, and I think for someone who drives this car regularly, eventually you get used to the way the engine revs change.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's easier to drive it smoothly.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I'm already like a semi-pro at rev matching. Nah, we're not gonna try 2. 2 second gear is not very, not a happy camper. Oh, green arrow, look at that. Just for us. Oh, it would have been nice if I'd grab 2. Let's try it. There we go. That's letting me in. It's a really nice sounding V6. Kind of has like a, I'll call it like a roar. It sounds very grumbly at like 4,000, like it's angry. Now I'm getting the hang of the shifting. The tall gearing is part of what does it too. The 1-2, if you shift at 6, 2 drops you to slightly below 4. I wonder if they ever made like a sportier gearing for this. You said they put these in the Solara too, right?
Right.
Is it the exact same?
I would guess that it was.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
Right. Yeah, certainly an interesting car for sure. I think this sits, RPM wise, about the same as the 4-speed automatics these do, which is really funny. Because usually when they do the manual, they give it, you know, everything's all shorter.
Yeah.
And now this still has a tall
So the first Camry V6 my father owned was in 1988 with a 5-speed manual. That one had very short gearing.
Yeah.
So you were running like, you know, 3,400 RPM at fifth going down the highway at 70 miles an hour. This is quite a bit taller.
Yeah. I mean, it was the 80s, because, I mean, for a while, I mean, the speed limit was 55,
Yeah.
so it makes sense.
Yeah, that was a 2.5 liter. I think it was about 153 horsepower.
Yeah.
Red Bull.
Now, what do you make of this car? You like driving it, right?
Yeah. You know, we said that 1MC has a reputation for being a very reliable engine as long as you change the oil, which this car had regular oil changes. So, you know, I expect it to last a long time, and you just can't get anything like this anymore.
That's true. It's got really good power up top. We've now finished our test drive of the 2001 Toyota Camry LE, the V6, and stick. Overall, it was a very pleasant experience. One of the things I liked about this car was it just felt like a normal car. They didn't try anything specific. The manual transmission, it is just the same car with the stick, but I think the stick really does add some character to the driving experience and made an otherwise really slushy and kind of soft car feel sportier. And I really think the manual, it's nicely paired up with the engine, and it kind of gives the car a new perspective. So I really enjoyed it. Thank you for coming on to the channel and showing off this car. Is there anything else you'd like to say about this car?
No, I mean, it's you know, it's something you just can't get anymore. So, you know, for what it is, it just adds a little bit of fun having the manual, and you know, if someone sees one of these out there, I hope they appreciate it.
Right? Yeah, not a lot of them. Well, with that, let's go ahead and give it a score. Utility. This body style of Toyota Camry has plenty of room for occupants and cargo room. Rear seat room is good too. It's very rare that I can sit straight up and not hit the headliner. Comfort is also fine. A little wind noise and not as refined as a modern car, but nothing too bad either. It gets a 6 out of 10. Features. This Camry is fairly well optioned with premium sound and leather seats, but compared to a modern car, this is pretty bare bone. This car has a cassette player and a CD player. While it's very cool, it does date the technology quite a bit. Materials are also okay. Nothing particularly nice, but it's purposeful and utilitarian. Overall, it gets a 3 out of 10. MPG. The EPA rates a Camry with a V6 and a manual like this one at 17 city and 25 highway, with an average of 20, giving it a 5 out of 10. Cool factor. This will vary depending on who you ask. To most people, this is normal traffic. But to those that know, this is something a little more special and interesting. That said, in the grand scheme of things, this body style is as close to default as cars get, so it gets 3 out of 10. Driver's feedback. It was okay for a car like this, but lacking by performance car standards. The steering is on the vague side, the suspension communicates okay, but it's also on the soft side, and the shifter could be better. However, the brake and throttle pedal feel were much better than expected for a car like this. Well weighted and paired up nicely with each other. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Acceleration. This Camry is rated at 0 to 60 in around 7 seconds, giving it a 3 out of 10. Finally, should you buy it? This is a Toyota product which is synonymous with reliability. On top of that, this was one of the most reliable and durable cars Toyota ever made. Parts are cheap, resources are plentiful. This is going to be the new benchmark for the should you buy it score. I thought you should buy it so much, in fact, that I've bought one for myself, a comparable car, as a daily. It gets a 15 out of 15, putting it here on our list. There's nothing really special about this Camry. It just does the job of a car well. Something that even over 20 years later you can turn the key and expect to start every time. With just enough fun packed in to entertain you on your daily commute. And sometimes that's really all a car needs to do.